The Cellcast is recorded in front of a live streaming audience.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, if you do anything to disrespect his girlfriend, well, your life's over. Welcome, Jacob.
Why, thank you. I That was good. That was good. You broke it. Oh my gosh. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, a man who might be a little bit apprehensive about chopping someone's head off. Welcome, Drew.
You just don't want to have to risk the zombie apocalypse.
That is true.
Especially when it was... Anyway, we'll not go there. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm good. It's been a week. You know, praise the Lord. It's Friday.
Indeed, it is Friday.
It's, Friday when we record. You're probably listening to this another day. For our audio listeners,
more than likely, more likely,
probably next week. So yeah, I've been doing good. I got my monthly haircut. Feeling fresh for a moment. Let's see. What did we do last weekend? That is all a blur. What did we do?
Last weekend was a blur.
Yes, last weekend was a blur. Be like, I apologize if be like, oh my gosh, you didn't know, you don't remember exactly everything. No, I don't. It's been a blur of a week.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
you don't remember at all the last week.
No, I remember last week. It's just
you don't remember what you did last weekend.
No, I don't. For some stupid reason, I don't.
And the thing is, I can't even help you with this because we didn't do anything together last weekend after the podcast.
No, we didn't. This is terrible.
How about the only thing we did was Sunday we had potluck at the church.
That's right.
That's about the only thing we did together over the weekend.
Oh my gosh. So it's like, sorry, Ashley, I just forgot for a moment. So just don't kill me over this. Either
Sunday will be interesting.
Sunday will be interesting if she pops in there. It's like, what? she'll go like Son Goku would just go, Wah! It's like, you forgot something?
Super Saiyan Ashley. Interesting sight. Anyway. If she is listening, she has no idea what I just said.
Oh my gosh.
So you have no idea what you did last Saturday.
Let's just move forward, shall we?
Okay.
A week's been pretty good. I will probably remember what I did last weekend, probably a little bit later on. Be like, oh yeah, that's what I did. Totally remember it now.
Right.
So this week's been work. It's been work. And then today, I know me and Ashley, I'm going to help Ashley with something this weekend. And then we're going to go to, I think it's somewhere. I know we're going to do something. I just don't remember where we're going.
Boy, your memory with what you do with your girlfriend is severely lacking that right now.
Thanks. Rub it in.
I have to rub it in somehow.
Touche. But yeah, I think we're going to go to, man, I'm having just the memory farts today. This is terrible. It's like my age starting to catch up with me for some reason.
Tomorrow, while he's out with Ashley, he's going to be taking notes. When she asks, it will be, why are you taking notes? She's like, I need to remember to be able to tell people what I did when the podcast comes up.
This isn't like 50 First Dates, you know.
I know, but apparently your memory is just shot.
For the moment.
You'll remember when we're in the middle of news. That's what happened.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, we did this thing. Oh my gosh. Wow. Hold on. What day is it?
Today is Friday.
The 13th.
The 13th.
Okay.
We're just lucky it's not a full moon.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it is, Friday the 13th. Yeah. No full moon. Praise the Lord, because that would be nuts.
We here at the Cellcast are not superstitious. We are just very much aware of dramatic irony.
Oh, blink. Now I remember I had to look at my calendar. That is terrible. You know that?
Okay.
So last Saturday, for some reason it blanked on me. My sweet brothers and sister-in-law threw me a surprise 40th birthday party, which was yes, I know.
I should have been able to tell you that, even though I didn't go.
Oh my gosh, I feel like a dunce.
Okay.
So we met at my little brother's house, and it was Back to the Future themed, which I'm a massive fan of Back to the Future. Ashley showed up, my cousin and aunt showed up, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We wound up watching all 3 of the films.
Well, of course, you get started with one, you got to finish the whole thing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs, and so yeah, that's what I did for the weekend. Yeah, then like Sunday was Sunday and working on projects afterwards. Monday was more I watched Legend, and then it was like I've got to draw this, and so I drew it and I posted it for everybody to see, at least the pencil form, and hope to get that out maybe late Saturday afternoon or late Saturday evening. Anyways, so yes, that happened. That was like the 3rd party I've had in the past 2 weeks.
You're trying to make up for all the birthday parties you skipped.
That is true, because normally I normally never celebrate my birthday. So my wonderful girlfriend is like, "Oh no, you're celebrating it," and so we went out to eat on my birthday, which is 27th of the last month, and that Friday, starting in January, or no, before that, blah. I'm just all kinds of dates are going blurred. That next Friday, I had lunch with my parents and some family members at a wonderful restaurant where we live, and then follow up the next weekend, which was last Saturday. I feel like I'm doing a fusion dance here.
I'm not helping you with that fusion dance.
Thank you. Either or, but like, yeah, it's been a wonderful time. It's like you know when someone asks you a question, it's like, "How's your week been?" And go, bloop. That's how I felt. So yes, I've had a wonderful last couple of weeks, and yeah. Oh, brother.
I may have to edit some of this down.
Maybe. Anyways, that has been my week. How are you been, Drew? You're welcome, people.
Well, unlike you, I do remember what I did last Saturday. Of course, I also had a little bit more time to think. No, last Saturday, I, of course, recorded 2 more episodes of Henshin Men with Nate Marchand. That show is getting interesting. I'll just say that. We finally found plot.
What, you found plot?
10 episodes before the end, we found plot.
Oh my gosh.
No, I say we found plot. Plus, those episodes are finally starting to release.
Good.
That I'm on, so keep an eye out for those. Also, that evening, because the reason I wasn't able to go to your thing is because I had already had Saturday Night Spoke for to play a D&D game, because I've played only very little D&D, and we kind of did a episode session 0 just trying to get everything set up, and we kind of got most of it. We'll see how this goes. Of course, this was all before all the craziness with the D&D issues that the internet has gone through in the past week with the OGL in nonsense.
Okay.
If you don't know what it is, I'm not going to explain it, but those who know what I'm talking about will know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Let's just say D&D is going to have a hard time recovering from the public relations disaster of them being a little greedy. A little greedy is pushing that description. But anyway.
Okay.
And then Monday night, Tuesday night was just normal nights. Wednesday night, I did get to go see something that a couple people have seen. We had the Bible study Thursday night, and that's been about it. It's just been a nice, calm, slightly exciting week.
I gotcha.
But yeah, a lot easier to remember apparently than yours was.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Jacob, I do have a question for you, and I really hope you actually can answer this.
What have you been watching?
Well, it's like, Doyle, I don't know. Be like, I
don't
might
know,
have watched
George.
this, and I don't know, George. What did I watch?
I don't know what I watched, George.
So I watched. So my brother Jim, had been asking. It's like, they're like, I wanted to watch this Garth Brooks special, but the only one that he had watched was the one they showed live on CBS
Mm-hmm.
when he was live in Vegas the first time. So I sent him a link to the one you found on the box set.
Mm-hmm.
So I've sent him a link to that, and I watched that, and
I
it's
love
like,
how you make it sound like I found it when I did not find
no,
it.
I found it.
I don't watch Garth Brooks.
Yeah, I found it. It's like, yes, Drew found it for me, and he sent it to me, then I sent it to him.
Except I would not have done that because I would not have destroyed my search history with that name. But that's beside the point.
Ow.
I'm sorry. I'm just
You
not a
just got
fan.
friends in really low places then.
Where the Coca-Cola drowns and the Dr. Pepper chases my blues away. That wasn't a really good reference, but let's move on.
So yeah, I watched that. I'd be like, there again, I'm a huge, massive Garth Brooks fan. I got to go see him live in Dallas a couple of months ago with my brother Jim, my wonderful girlfriend Ashley. That was a bucket list. Chick, done. Amazing. And I know not everybody's a big Garth Brooks fan. I get that, but I am. So Bill, I watched that. Had it playing because I've seen it a dozen times already.
Mhm.
So I was doing other things, and then I love the history of the RMS Titanic. Love that. I have not seen. No, this is what leading up to it. So James Cameron, who is the director who's got Avatar: The Way of Water in theaters right now, which is blowing box office numbers again. I have not seen the movie yet.
I haven't either.
I don't know if I'm going to watch see it or not. But
I think I'm going to end up seeing it next Saturday.
But I noticed on Facebook they are going to re-release Titanic for its 25th anniversary for Valentine's weekend. Only problem it's in 3D, which I know they converted to 3D years ago.
3D.
Yeah, in your face.
I can't imagine that's any good.
Yeah, me either.
I'd rather watch it in 2D.
I actually have it in the poster for the 3D release. I just remember that. I do have it.
Is it like a lenticular 3D where you, depending on which way you look at it, the image changes a little bit?
Not the poster.
Well, that's just a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame. Do better, people. Come on. No, but so ever since me and Ashley are in a relationship, I was thinking like that would be really, really cool. I've never seen Titanic. I know, shocker beyond shockers.
Dude,
I've not watched Titanic the movie.
I can't judge you because I haven't seen it either.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I already know how it ends though.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the joke, the story.
Ship sinks, folks.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
So there's a story that our dear friend Chase has said multiple times that's funny. So apparently him and a friend were going to see Titanic in theaters. This was 1997, 98 when this movie came out.
I was in 5th grade. That's all I remember.
Oh, okay. So they're going to go see it, and these teenage girls were right behind him, and so they talk about the event which happened in 1912, 1913. You know, please quote me on that, please, or someone correct me where I'm wrong. So they're talking like, yeah, and the ship sank, and the girl behind him like, thanks for spoiling the movie.
It's like it's history.
It
folks.
happened over 100 years ago. At this point,
97.
Thank you. I knew it was like 97, 98, but and there's a lot of reasons I haven't watched this movie yet, but
I was too young when it came out, so
I was 97. I would have been, oh gosh, make me do math right in front of an audience. How old were you? 15?
in 97?
No.
I wasn't 15 in 97.
I'm sorry. Wow, I feel like an age.
I would have been closer to 11 or 12.
11, 12, so I would have been like 14, 15 years old.
You would have been 15.
I would have been 15.
not have been.
In 97? No. Be like, there again. Let's not get into numbers here. I apologize.
Was 10 years old in 95, 96, 97. That makes it either 11 or 12 since I didn't bother to look up months. I suspect it was in the middle of the summer.
Oh, okay.
Which would have been 11.
Yeah. I make myself like an idiot tonight. Apparently.
Which I bet you at 13 or 14.
Yeah, 13 or 14. Thank you very much.
13, probably.
Yeah, 13. So I think I was in homeschool at that point. So either or. So I was going on about Titanic. So I watched the documentary.
Yes, I'm curious where this is leading, to be honest.
So going back to the 20th year anniversary of the movie, James Cameron did a special for National Geographic where he went in and they kind of retold what they did with how to do the movie and how they may have gotten things wrong when it comes to the aerodynamics of how the ship sank in the whole bit. And it's a really fascinating documentary that is now on Disney Plus. And he interviews interviews the surviving family members of two people that had died and one who survived, and their relatives. And I thought it was very fascinating. It was very cool. I downloaded it once. Because there again, I'm a Titanic nut, and weird. I haven't watched the movie yet. Go figure. Like I said before, but yeah, watch that. Really good. Sorry for the long explanation.
So you watched a documentary on Titanic?
Yes, I did.
Okay, that's all we needed to know.
Sorry, I get long-winded about everything sometimes, and apparently I forget things too.
That's why you get long-winded. What you don't remember, you got to give yourself time to remember. Oh, whatever I dish out, I'm getting back. I know.
It's something about a dish cold syrup. You know what I'm talking about. A dish.
Are you saying that? Revenge. Revenge is a dish best served cold. It is very cold in space.
Balls.
Space balls. I didn't say anything about space balls. Actually, on average, space is very warm. It's just
you just can't breathe.
Feel it. But anyway, boy, we are off topic tonight. What else have you watched besides the Titanic documentary and Garth Brooks? 10 minutes later.
So I finished the book. I finished Lee Child's Killing Floor, which is the first book for Jack Reacher. That is a good book. I listened to an audio. I have the book, the physical copy of the book, and that was a lot of fun. That was a good story, very good story, and I would highly recommend it. I know some people have already watched Reacher, the first season on Amazon Prime. I'm gonna go see it eventually, but that was a good book. Highly recommend it. So that is all and occasional podcasts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is all I've been watching and listening to. What about you? After my 10-minute windy,
because mine's not going to be anywhere near this long, even though I actually watched a couple things.
Something about Shin something.
We'll get to that in a minute. First off, I'm going to start with an anime I watched. I watched about 5 episodes of it. The name of the anime is hang on. I know 90% of the title. It's just I don't remember how it begins.
I'm not the only one forgetting things.
Hey, this is an isekai title. It's 5 miles long. You gotta give me a minute.
Okay. 5 minutes later.
Once I find the right one, because there's like 2 of these. Villaina.
This is a wonderful entertainment, isn't it, people?
Okay, it's I'm the villainess, so I'm taming the final boss. That's the name of it. Basically, this girl gets reborn into another world as the villainess of essentially a dating simulator. That's the word I'm looking for.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm sitting there going, Otome game. That is what they keep saying in there. But I don't know what an Otome game is. I'm just guessing it's a dating simulator. But it's set in this fantasy world. And she's playing the person you're supposed to keep from dating your boyfriend.
Oh, okay.
Basically. She gets reborn as that character, the one you're supposed to stop from getting to it. I watched about 5 episodes of it. It's actually a very fun show. But the 5th episode had to have been my favorite line. So throughout most of this little arc, the game's protagonist has been making her life a living Hades. And they're going to battle to save the soul of her new boyfriend, which is actually the game's antagonist, the final boss. Because she's doing her best to make sure he doesn't become the final boss, because then that would mean she would get stepped on and died. Because he turns into a dragon and steps on her in the original game. In the original ending of this game. And she's trying to keep that from happening. She apparently has this connection to a holy sword that the hero also has. I don't quite remember how it goes. So when the hero girl pulls out the sword and goes to attack the final boss, the villainous character who we're following as our protagonist says, jumps in front of her. Technically, the sword should not be able to harm humans, and it doesn't. But she's able to absorb the sword and it's into herself. Okay. So she can take control over the holy sword, right?
Okay.
And this is confusing the game's protagonist. And she's going, how is this possible? There's no way you should be able to do this. And she goes, isn't it obvious? I'm the protagonist now. And I'm going, that is kind of an epic line that you can't get away with normally.
True.
So I watched that. That was fun. That was just a fun little show. There's some more episodes of it that I haven't quite got to. Curious why she's now masquerading as a boy at another school, but I'll figure that out when I get there. But other than that, I have been watching another show on Blu-ray. Of course, I've already talked about it a little bit, which is Ultraman, the original 1960s show where a guy in a rubber suit fights a bunch of kaiju that are made out of rubber suits. It's a fun. I got to realizing that this was like watching Star Trek. Okay, the old 60s Star Trek, where they are making a good action show that happens to at the very end have giant monster fights. Yeah, basically, it's a good science fiction show. I mean, heck, one of the episodes I watched today, we found out that Ultraman apparently used to be Noah. I'm still curious about how this works. Noah, as in the one with the ark. Okay. And before you start thinking, they had to get it wrong, they were outside Mount Ararat. I am curious where this is going to go, if it goes anywhere. They apparently the lost civilization that where all this was happening apparently worshipped Ultraman as a god, but called him Noah. Okay. So yeah, that was weird. But before I got to that particular weird episode, Wednesday, I got to go see a movie that not many people in the United States have gotten to see yet. Shin Ultraman. Yeah. The movie produced by Hideki Anno and directed by, I don't remember his name, but he's the one who produced Shin Godzilla, and actually and they both, of course, worked on Neon Genesis Evangelion. It's actually a very good movie. If you get a chance to go watch it, I suggest you do. Of course, it's already out of theaters because it was only a 2-day thing, but it'll be out on store shelves relatively soon. I think I heard sometime this spring. But I got to watch that. That was a very fun show. I have a little bit of. There were some parts of it that were a little bit crunchy. I don't know how much of that was. I know one of it was the subtitle issue would have had to have been on Fathom Events part, because I'm assuming somehow, or however they however they coded the subtitles on there, they kind of messed up in a couple spots where it's like, I don't have time to read this 3 mile long sentence because the scene shifted like that, and you move the subtitles away with the scene ended, despite the fact the guy is still talking.
Okay.
That happened once or twice. But I have not had a chance to watch the dub, which was out last night because, Bible study and all that. So I don't know. I don't know how good the dub is, but the subtitle version, it was fun. It had there are a lot of interesting things. Granted, I am still new to Ultraman, so I can't tell you how good an adaptation of Ultraman it is.
Okay.
But for a Hideki Anno style production, it was pretty good. It was not quite as cerebral as, say, Evangelion or Shin Godzilla was, but it's still fun.
Good.
Still fun. Just be ready for truckloads of exposition being shoved down your throat every chance they get.
Yeah.
Because that's how they make those. Yeah. That's how he makes those movies. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been watching.
Okay.
So what, Jacob, do we have in the news?
The Cellcast News with your host Jacob Heron.
All right. Why? Thank you, Dealit. And starting off with the news
as we enter the notes portion of the show.
Yeah, into the notes portion of things.
I'm just messing with you, dude.
40 minutes
news.
All right. So news. So Crunchyroll has announced the English cast of a certain English voice cast of a character known as Vash Stampede in a reboot sci-fi space western known as Trigun Stampede.
Trigun the Stampede?
No, Trigun Stampede.
Oh, Trigun Stampede. That makes more sense.
Yeah, that's the new one they're doing.
Yes. It's in 3D, which I worry about.
Yes.
But I always worry about with anime in 3D.
With the lead role of going to Johnny Young Bass.
Johnny Young Bosch, a.k.a. the original English Bosch the Stampede.
From the 1988 Trigun series. The English dub will be debuted weekly on Saturdays starting January 21st, followed by the Japanese English simulcast, which also airs new every Saturday and premieres on January 7th. So yeah. So if you are a Trigun fan like some of us are, yeah, it'll be like the new one's coming out with Johnny Young Bosch as Vash for the new Trigun Stampede, which is coming out on Crunchyroll. Which that sounds like fun. I don't know how it's gonna take, but it sounds like fun.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, that's the first big bit of news. Anyways, going into let this play out because it's almost done. Anyways, there we go. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so
you're welcome.
Yeah, so I asked them to be like, hey, can you play a little bit of the Trigun theme while we do the news? Because I thought it'd be kind of nice to hear that. So
I like how before the thing you were a little worried about YouTube content match with King Tut, but you had no problem with the Trigun
I didn't think about that, but okay.
I just thought of that.
Yeah. If we had monetization, we'd probably get demonetized.
Monetization? What's that? All we got is Patreon.
Exactly. But so Netflix's acclaimed feature, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, was awarded the Golden Globe for Best Animated Feature on last Tuesday night.
That is actually on our list of movies to review this year.
Yes, it is. Let's see. The stop motion movie emerged to beat out 4 other nominated movies, included Inyo G Kids. Oh, okay. The snail with the shoes.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
Marlowe or something like that.
Mitchell.
No.
Oh crap. I'm sorry. I'm looking
Marcel.
Marcel. Thank you.
Marcel, the clam with shoes on.
Yeah.
Or shell with shoes on.
The shell with shoes on. Bill, it's bad when you have a reading disorder and you're looking right at the word and you can't say it, which is irritating.
Right?
Push some boots, the last wish, and turning red. So that is all I have for info and stuff, unless you have something else.
You mean in the news?
Yeah.
We hadn't got to info and stuff.
No, we haven't.
Either
in
info
the
and
news.
stuff.
In the news. This show's going wonderful, isn't it?
I don't have anything for the news this week. So are you ready to jump into our spoiler-free thoughts?
Yes.
On these things?
Uh-huh.
Certified fresh and spoiler-free.
Mm-hmm.
So like last week, we are going to talk about one short and then the other. Both of these shorts, though, should be in the description or in the show notes, wherever you are watching or listening to this. So if you want to watch the shorts before you hear our spoiler-filled reviews, you can pause this afterwards and go watch them. Other than that, I actually enjoyed both of these. We'll start with Legend of Dragon Ball Tale because that's about 10 times of epic. Unlike the other ones we've done so far on in this month, this is actually a fan film.
More of a passion project than anything.
It's a fan film still.
Yeah.
So unlike everything else where the directors and the writers have nothing we can connect them to, or the cast has nothing we can connect them to, we actually got stuff on on this
quite
one.
a bit.
Quite a few things. But yeah, it is basically a 10-minute fight scene. And you get right down to it. There's some story and comedic bits, don't get me wrong. But it's like you're watching this because if you've ever seen Dragon Ball or let's face it, Dragon Ball Z, and you've kept up with it somewhat and you kind of enjoy the thing, you're a bit of a Dragon Ball fan, whether you'll admit it or not, or maybe you just liked Dragon Ball when you were a kid, you'll enjoy this because it's just a lot of fun. Just remember, this is not an actual adaptation of the actual property, but more of a alternate universe take on things.
Yes.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed the mess. This was an absolute trip. Watching Legend, a Dragon Ball Tale was phenomenal. I loved it to death. It was like I had heard about this on the internet and I stumbled across it and I was like, ooh, what is this? Watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a thing. And my initial reaction was, if we do shorts at some point, well, I'm throwing this on here. So happy be like, watch it again. There again, it's 10 minutes. You can watch it like 4 or 5 times. Be like, it's amazing. And absolutely incredible. And so for Pharaoh,
yeah, you didn't talk about Pharaoh.
Yeah, Pharaoh. I started looking for, like, trying to find like student films that looked good and like had, that were just amazing looking. So I found this one and I was like, ooh, this looks fun. And it's actually really good, like animation wise, story wise.
Yeah,
for something that's like 5 minutes, like you can tell you can express so much storytelling and emotion through in only 5 minutes. That is incredible. And for a short, I'd be like, for a student film, these are really, really well done. Legend is a fan film that is a passion project that is just the lack of words, legendary. So yeah, I love Legend. Legend's amazing. I love
Pharaoh.
Thank you. I love both of these. These are amazing.
Since you've talked about both of them, I'll go ahead and talk about Pharaoh.
Go for it.
I think it's a great little short. I think the best thing you can say about this is I wish there was more to it.
Yeah,
because it does leave you wanting to know more about who this character is, see more of what she does going forward. How is she actually going to change her nation? But at the same time, it's just a nice little. It's a nice story. and I enjoyed it. It was a little harsh, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be about it
Okay.
on our spoiler-free section.
Mm-hmm.
So join us on the other side, and we will get to spoiling these things.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
This week, we suggest checking out Stunning and Brave, where each week hosts Chris Cowan of the Babylon Bee and Nate Henderson of Some Boring Budgeting Job confess their privilege, spotlight stunning social media posts, and fabricate outrage, all while keeping you super woke and enlightened. They will make you laugh. That's right.
You have no choice.
Check out Stunning and Brave at stunningandbrave.net.
The Cellcast would like to thank the following patrons: Josh Adams, Ashley Ruiz, Book of Gaming.
Get your name on the show, plus uncut episodes, early access to the Cellcast, plus reviews and special art from Jacob. Please donate to us on Patreon.
Let's go ahead and start with Legend,
Yes.
a Dragon Ball tale, because I think
Yes.
this is the one we're going to talk about the most.
Yes.
To be honest, I should say the following is a spoiler-filled review for the shorts Legend, a Dragon Ball tale, and Pharaoh. Listener discretion is advised. Legend, a Dragon Ball tale, was written and directed by Nasir Pasha. The cast includes Jordan Woolen as Goku, Emperor Vegeta, Krillin, and King Vegeta. And in the English dub of Shin Ultraman, he played alien Mephilus. However you say his name.
Mephilus?
Yeah, basically like Mephistopheles.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of what that character is.
Okay.
But he played the English. Then I think that technically makes the shortest amount of time between the premiere of a part to when we talked about it on the show, because
Really?
The English dub premiered last night.
Wow.
Just a fun little thing there.
That is cool.
Elsie Lovelock, who was the voice of Chi-Chi,
Mm-hmm.
plays the character Minami Takasaki in the anime Showtime. And Jason Alexander Kukram played Broly, and this is his only credit.
Gotcha.
There are no Kingdom Hearts connections. What do we got in info and stuff?
Info and stuff. All right, so IMDb, it is an 8.5 out of 10, produced by Ness. How you pronounce his name? Nasir. Push. I'm pronouncing. I apologize.
Nasir Pasha.
Nasir Pasha. And his team at Stray Dog Entertainment Studio.
I think it's Stray Dog Studios.
Yes, Stray Dog Animation Studios, or Stray Dog Studios. Distributed by Stray Dog. It was released on July 6, 2022.
All right. Getting into the summary. Giving diplomatic orders by the Grand Council, Vegeta, now King of the Saiyans, sets out on an interstellar assassination mission.
That's an interesting word.
I'm just sitting here going, was he given diplomatic orders? Or did his father just say, we'll be here when you get back?
Yeah.
That's about all I caught of that.
Go do what you're gonna do, and you'll come back. We'll still be here.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Getting into the trivia for this.
If your planet doesn't get blown up by a stupid little whatever.
Alternate universe, the planet didn't get blown up by a Frieza.
By a freezer.
I'm just remembering a quote from one of the guys at Team 4-Star. He says, I would like, a part of me wishes that I could set up a restaurant called Planet Fajita, but it would probably get burned down by a freezer. Moving on. This film is set in an alternate universe where the Saiyans were never conquered by Frieza, with Vegeta assuming the role of King of the Saiyans, while his father became Emperor. There are also implications that Goku and Vegeta already have a history, possibly from when they were kids. It is set around the time of the Piccolo Jr. saga of the original Dragon Ball anime, which is episode 137 of Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
From the yellow tint and subtitles, the whole video evokes early VHS fan subs.
It does.
Akira Toriyama's avatar, Toribot, appears along the entrance walls of the World Martial Arts Tournament arena. One of the people waiting at the World Martial Arts Tournament temple's entrance bears a resemblance to Akuma from Street Fighter II.
Mm-hmm.
Also sitting in the audience is a certain bald hero who can defeat everything in one punch! That being Saitama from One Punch Man. During the final beam of war, shapes can be seen in Goku, Vegeta's Kamehameha, and Broly's gigantic meteor, a fist and snarling demonic face, respectively. They are both overtaken by another attack from Vegeta and Goku that takes the shape of a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Ball Z.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's a stupid joke.
Yes, it is.
Yamcha first appears in his Dragon Ball era bandit outfit in the stands with Krillin and Launch. When the camera returns to the stands later to witness Bulma catching Vegeta's cape, Yamcha is now in his Dragon Ball Z era Turtle School outfit and next to her. He moved, apparently.
He did move.
Raditz and Nappa make a brief appearance at the start of the film as guards to the Saiyan castle. The monkey theming and flaming hair of Goku's transformation clearly references Sun Wukong, the character from the ancient literature tale Journey to the West that Goku is based on, since the first story arc of Dragon Ball is actually an adaptation of that tale.
Yes.
Very loose adaptation.
Very, very loose.
When Vegeta throws his cape, it lands next to Bulma as he says, "My family." Probably a reference to them getting married later in the series.
Yeah, a little bit.
Broly's power level briefly hovers between 9,000 and 9,001 before exploding off the charts, referencing the over 9,000 meme. Many lines and scenes are taken directly straight from the English dub of the anime, including Goku and Chi-Chi's fight in the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament in Dragon Ball Episode 137, Anonymous Proposal, Broly's legendary Super Saiyan transformation in the movie Dragon Ball Z, Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, Vegeta's line, "And yes, even you, Kakarot," from episode 200, Dragon Ball Z episode 237, Final Atonement, Broly's one-handed blast from Dragon Ball Z, Broly's Second Coming, Goku's first Super Saiyan transformation from Dragon Ball Z episode 95, Transformed at Last, Broly's mouth blast from Dragon Ball Super Broly, and Broly's death from Dragon Ball Z Broly Second Coming. The music contains covers of songs appearing throughout the Dragon Ball animes, including the Dragon Ball Z prologue theme and tournament drums covered by Cooper Maiden, the song Limit Break Cross Survivor covered by Charlie Para del Riego, Super Saiyan 3 Goku main theme and Vegeta Royal Blue theme covered by Frederick Habitler. I probably said that wrong. Anyway, Jacob, what is your first like?
The animation in this short is epic. I just say it like Kakarot. Epic.
Okay.
Epic, 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 epic. That's all, folks. Epic.
That's all you're gonna say about
No,
it?
I'm not. Be like, I have. Be like,
long-winded as you've been tonight. This is
I'm getting too excited. I can't talk. I apologize. This animation, the fact that this year took 2 years, 2.5 years to
do something during the pandemic.
That is true. But he took 2 years drawing this by hand. Like, that is a passion project. Like, beyond, now great, he had help along the way. He had like background painters, he had like colorists, inkers, whatever, what have you, along the way with his team.
He had a whole crew with
he had an entire team of people going, do this. But when it comes to like the simple, he drew everything by hand or digital. and it's just phenomenally epic in every fashion and form. Now this guy had, some he does some background in animation.
Yeah, from what I understand.
Yeah, for what I've been able to see. And it's just, wait for it, legendary.
I've never even watched that show.
I've watched it. I'll be like, I have family who have said that over and over and over again. I have seen a little bit of How I Met Your Mother, so I'm going to use it there. Okay. So, but the animation is so incredibly well done. It's got this like rough texture to it, like it's been like hand drawn, and like it's not completely cleaned up, but it's so amazing. And my words are failing me right now, which is absolutely horrendous for a podcaster. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. The animation is just, for a guy to take 2 years to do this by hand in digital is just phenomenal. I love this to death, and just, kudos, dude, you rock. And just the action just incredible. Let's just say that. What about you?
This is going to be a weird thing for me to mention.
Okay.
I liked the gate weave.
The gate weave.
You don't even know what I'm talking about.
Please explain.
Technically, it's not gate weave. It's simulated gate weave, because this was made digitally, not on film.
Yeah.
But you know how when you watch like old television shows, how sometimes when when something like solid is on screen for a couple minutes,
yeah,
you can sort of see the thing move back and forth like at a steady pace. That's called gate weave.
Oh, okay.
They simulated it here, and it's actually spot on. In fact, I have not gone back and looked, but I strongly suspect the gate weave is there throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
It's just you can't really notice it except for a couple of shots where everything's kind of slowed down enough that there's not a whole lot of action on screen, which, since he is mimicking the old anime art style in many ways in some of these shots, that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that much attention to detail just to get put a gate weave in there that most people nowadays don't even think about is like that shows a level of love that most people don't show things.
Agreed.
Even when they're doing fan passion projects, he could have very easily have just, obviously he made his own story throughout this, because this is not, while he is basing this on a lot of things that happened, he is like throwing it all into an area of the show that none of it could have happened in under normal circumstances.
Yes.
But I mean, the amount of love and passion you can tell just by putting in these minor details, especially like all the little background elements that show up there. I failed to mention that there's like a cameo in there from Kaiser Neko, who does Dragon Ball Z Abridged. He's the editor for that. He's on like screen for like 2 seconds there near the beginning. There's like tons of little Easter eggs like in the background, especially like on the scene where you see Goku fighting the poster that's showing Goku and the anonymous fighter, unknown fighter, whatever they called her in this. Apparently, if you go in there, you can read like everything in there talking about like all the other things. There's a wanted poster back there for Demon King Piccolo.
Yeah, there's actually a picture of Piccolo.
There's like, oh my words, like you put in so much little detail. Things, just simple things like the fact that the audio, when they take lines directly from the English anime, they match up exactly. Tone, everything. When I was watching this originally, I thought, oh, he just took lines from the actual show and just edited them in here, didn't he? That's what I was convinced of.
Yeah,
because a lot of this does actually sound like the writing they would have used on the show in the 90s. And the only reason I knew it wasn't was you get to the very end and he's talking about how the light in you, Goku, is like Vegeta would never talk like this.
No.
He would never be this friendly to Kakarot in the show. Not till you get to Dragon Ball Super anyway.
Right.
There's just no way. It's like, I have no idea where you source this audio. And it's because he actually had new people to, he actually hired voice actors to record all these lines, and he got them to record it in the same tone and intonation and almost matching the actual voices almost exactly of the show. It's like, you got it that close. Good. Now you even got someone who sounds like Vic Mignogna to do Broly screaming Kakarot's name over and over again.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Even though everyone hates Vic Mignogna now. But yeah, I mean, this is just so epic, for lack of a better, like you said, it's so epic.
Yes.
There's so much attention to detail. You can see the love and the passion for this, and it all come and the surest sign that the it goes so far that even the fact that the animation is not like still ever, it's got that gate weave that no one would think about. No one, we see that as an imperfection. Yeah, and he included the imperfections. That's passion and love for something, to essentially recreate the anime the way you saw it in your mind's eye as a kid and still do your own thing with it, instead of just making something like super brand new and it's like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
He put a lot of care into this, and I appreciate that. So yeah, that's why I say the gate weave is my first like, because it just shows you how much care and passion he has for this that goes throughout the whole thing.
Wow. And I learned something today. Gate weave. I didn't know what that meant.
Awesome. Next time you watch an old something that was recorded off a VHS master, you'll see that, because you go.
Yeah, it does.
That's called gate weave.
Awesome. All right.
Half surprised he didn't put interlacing in there, to be honest.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Right.
Wouldn't put it past him. Like, even at one point when they were like promoting it.
Well, I mean, I guess you can't see that gate weave on when film is transferred to Blu-ray, depending on how the film is. But anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of submit that in a way, because on his own store, I want to call him Nessa, but it's not Nessa. Nasir. Yeah, Nasir's own personal shop online. Be like, at one point you could buy a VHS copy of this. Obviously the tape's blank, but it's a cover and the whole bit.
How do you know it's blank? He could have easily transferred that on like a composite signal.
He could have, but he said it was blank.
That's a shame, because that would have been cool to like throw that in a VCR and see this thing and like it's actual meant to be seen format.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. So yeah, at one point you could buy a VHS copy of this. But probably my favorite about this is actually Vegeta's line. One of his lines in this short is it's like just about before he's about to battle it out with Brawly,
after he quotes his like final lines from when he thought he was going to die in Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, that line is
about
be like
sacrificing himself for my friends, for my family, and even you, Kakarot.
Yes, even you, Kakarot. He continues to be like, Saiyan legend, hear me. Today a god falls, bone to dust, ashes to the wind. And it's just like, oh my, like it is like, there again, this entire short is epic beyond belief. And like the line reads, like you said before, they like almost beat per beat is just like cadencing the original voice actors for whatever episode they were in, and doing that callback and callbacks and callbacks and callbacks, and then doing original stuff like this, and like original story. What Nasir did is just incredible. It's such a, like you said, it's a love letter to the original Dragon Ball Z, and all its etc.
Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, and Dragon Ball Super.
Yes,
plus the endless amount of movies.
Yeah, a lot of movies.
Everything from Sleeping Princess and Demon's Castle all the way to Superhero.
Yes. Which we reviewed Superhero.
We reacted to Superhero.
That's right. But lines like that, just it's like, wow. Because you take from the original mythos, you use lines, you copy and paste lines, but done in a similar way. And then you add stuff like that. Just makes this so much sweeter and so much more. And it takes this idea that, like, what if, Prince Vegeta or King Vegeta at this point, this alternative timeline is just this, be like, I've waited my entire life to do this. This is what I've trained my life for. And it's just epic lines like that.
Normally, I wouldn't even pay attention to. I would not come off my throne to take care of Rebel like you, but today I'll make a royal exception.
That was just great. It was there again. This like, it's chef's kiss beyond belief. This is such an amazing short, and everybody should go see it. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you probably have. You're not. If you're just an animation fan, go watch this. This is freaking incredible.
So here's the thing. Dragon Ball fans all know that what we're always excited to see is not a new move. New moves are nice. Don't get me wrong. We do like seeing good action scenes. We do like seeing good comedy scenes, because Dragon Ball, even with Funimation back in the day, trying to edit this to be a pure action show, the comedy gets through, because Dragon Ball has always been an action comedy thing. And all of that is represented here. Do not get me wrong.
Yes.
But let's face it, the thing we all love to see is a new transformation scene. A new form for our heroes to take.
Yeah.
And here we get the savior from the heavens, Son Goku.
Oh my word.
Clearly referencing Sun Wukong.
Yes.
Granted, there's a part of me, this is just a minor nitpick. I'm bringing it up now because I'm not going to bring it up later. I don't think within the lore of the show, Vegeta should have been able to go to Super Saiyan while he still had his tail. But besides the point...
it's a different universe.
That's like I said. It's like that's a minor nitpick. It's not even part of my main thing. It's just that thing you sit there and go, I don't think that's technically possible. But it's, who cares?
Exactly.
To be honest, we get a whole thing where we turn Goku into Infernape.
Yes,
from Pokemon.
Infernape. Okay,
that's the name of a Pokemon.
Really?
Yes, Infernape. You have to look that up.
Oh my gosh.
But that's kind of what he looks like. It's this giant, fiery monkey energy thing. That's like, yeah, I could see how Frieza would be scared of this. She was always worried about those stupid monkeys.
Yeah.
But, sorry, I just called Frieza she, didn't I?
You did.
Let's face it, we've all thought it. This is just a fun thing. And that whole effect, it's like, first off, you get the spot-on recreation of Goku's initial, not just Goku's, the original Super Saiyan transformation scene.
Yes.
The very first one we ever got. We got to see Goku's reflect that again, but he didn't go just as simple Super Saiyan like I was half expecting to some degree. No, he goes and fight. He goes full on flaming monkey. It's like, Sun Wukong. I don't even know the story of Sun Wukong other than what I've seen in Dragon Ball and what I've seen in the game Enslaved Odyssey to the West and a couple other places. Having seen so many different versions of Journey to the West, I'm kind of scared to ever actually go back and read the original story. But it's like with the Christmas Carol. I've seen so many versions of it. I'm never going to be able to watch it without just singing along at the right times for the songs from the Christmas Carol. That's just going to be how it is. But Dragon Ball, we actually get a great new epic form. It's sad that it's completely non-canon.
Yes.
And that we'll never get this included into anything without Toei admitting this exists and that it was cool enough to put in a video game. In the same way that they never will admit Dragon Ball Z Abridged exists.
But
even though they actually have hired Team 4 started to do voices in some of the DragonBall games.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And it actually in Resurrection F, they have a couple of side characters they voice too.
Really?
Some of them, yeah. We do need to go through those two movies.
Yes.
The first two arcs of Super in movie form. But because they are epic. But yeah, the whole savior from the heavens form for Goku is like, I want to play this. I want to see what attacks he has. Is he gonna? He's got to fire flaming poo chunks or something. I don't know. It's awesome. It's epic. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna have a hard time coming up with dislikes. So I'll let you go first once you've calmed down.
Oh, poo chunks.
Flaming poo. Pew!
Oh, okay. All right. My dislikes.
Just be glad Dealit didn't think to make us grow tails this week.
Oh gosh, thank you.
I don't know why you didn't think of that.
Snooze, you lose, I guess. Dislikes.
Do you have any?
The only I don't have a critique at all. All I just be like, give us more. Do something else with this. Be like, it would be great if you continued this story, but
yeah, because you did give us sequel bait at the end of this.
Exactly. You know, that Broly saying
war is coming.
Vegeta.
Like, Kaka, Vegeta. It's like, okay, where are we going with next here?
Yeah. Or next,
we're definitely going with villain Broly in this version, much like the original Broly, not hero Broly that we're getting now in the
Super.
anime. Super.
But yeah, that's the only thing I'm just be like, I would love for, you know, Team Stray Dog to do another one. I would love that. I don't know if they're gonna do it or not. I don't know if the copyright owners of Dragon Ball and its affiliated material would allow that, but I would love to see more.
Let's see, the copyright owners. That would be Crunchyroll, Funimation, Toei Animation, Fuji TV, and Akira Toriyama. Please support the official release. Ooh, I think I quoted just something.
I don't know.
Moving on.
Yes, moving on.
Actually, slightly paraphrased because they never said Crunchyroll.
That's right, they didn't.
Because Dragon Ball wasn't on Crunchyroll at the time.
Yes. But yeah, my only thing is be like, it's not canon, obviously not, but it's still epic in every fashion away. So yeah, that's the only thing I got. Be like, can we get more, please? And Toriyama, please. That's all I got.
All right. So let's go ahead. Well, I don't really have any dislikes.
Okay.
I'll be honest. Do you have any more dislikes?
No, I don't.
Because this was just epic.
It was.
So since we don't have any more anything, since we don't have any dislikes, why don't we go ahead and jump to the next one?
Okay.
That would be Pharaoh. Directed by Mitchell Zhao and Derek Forkel. Cast includes Anielle Reed as the queen. This was her only credit. Michael Norvigan as the vizier. He played a frenzied Russian VIP in Creed 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jeffrey Bentley, who played the heretic in something called Dinner with God. He played God.
Okay. Interesting.
God versus the Pharaoh. I'm just saying that technically happens.
Yeah, that's true.
But moving on.
Yeah. He did get his heart hardened though.
I have no Kingdom Hearts connections.
Okay. So Pharaoh has an IMDb score of 6.4 out of 10. It was produced by Michelle Joe. I think
it's Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. Yeah, Mitchell. That's
Michelle
right.
is a girl's name.
That's right, Mitchell. Never mind. There again, reading disorder. I read things wrong sometimes. My apologies. Mitchell Joe. Distributed by, obviously, it's a student film. So it's some college somewhere.
I didn't catch which college
yeah,
it was.
Me either. But it was released in 2018. It was not a like accurate date. It was just released that year. And that's all I've got.
Okay, summary for this. A young girl is Pharaoh of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
A heretic is brought before her for committing the crime of treason, in which technically technically treason will get you killed.
Yeah.
Consequences. The consequences of treason is death. That's what I'm trying to say. While she hesitates, but before she can stop him from getting killed, the vizier kills him.
Mm-hmm.
When later, as she thinks about it, she resolves that he will get a proper burial and that she is going to make changes.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the summary of this.
Yeah.
Thing. There's no trivia for this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any. So what is your first like?
My first like, it's got a good story for a short that has it's a 5-minute short. It's got enough story in there that gives you that hooks you into it, hooks you into the story where this very obviously new Pharaoh is, hesitant of the old law and wants to change things, but is hesitant and then learns from that and grows from that and wanting to improve the life of her people. And I find that really interesting. They do that kind of stuff, kind of like what we did with last week. Some of those where it was the World War I hair story.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my gosh, I love it when story creators can do incredible storytelling in a short span of time and convey everything they want in that short period of time. And it just makes a fulfilling story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I love about it. Like, it's a good story that is condensed down into 5 minutes, and you get the information you need, and it's not filled with fluff or stuff or anything. It just gives you the story it needs, and it needs to convey in order to get their point across. And I enjoy stories like that.
Okay.
What's your number one? First.
My first like. My first like for this is the animation in her face.
Mm-hmm.
You can see all the emotion she's going through from beginning to end on this.
Yes.
Which is tough in animation, if we're being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from how she's sitting at the beginning to how she sits at the end, where she goes from being, like childish kind of at the very beginning to at the end where she's fully taking control of her situation. She's literally sitting like a queen on her throne. Whereas before she was just sitting like a kid on a high chair. All those little details with the animation, I absolutely love because that's the thing about acting and animation. You should be able to tell your entire story without words.
Yes, agreed.
And this does a good job of doing that to where the words are just accents. Gives you a better idea of what's going on.
Yes.
But you can see the context. You could have told this whole story without, just based on the animations alone, you could have told the whole story without words. And I absolutely appreciate that. What's your second like?
My second like is what your number one was. The idea, like, not the idea. How the Pharaoh, her emotions are expressed through the animation, through like every character's animation is done so incredibly well. The amount of detail they put into it is gorgeous in this span of 5 minutes, that they're able to convey what they're wanting to do in that 5 minutes, like I just said before. And like you just said, they could have gone with no dialogue and you would have the story they're trying to convey would have been told
Just as well.
flawlessly through its animation.
Mhm.
It just maybe like grunts and like ahs or hms or something like that.
Mhm.
But the fact that they put in dialogue and they made a story out of it, and gave it more gravity with using the voice acting.
Yeah.
It's done very well. So yeah, that is my second like.
My second like for this, I like the acting on the Vizier.
Yes, agreed.
You can see that he is trying to be patient with his charge, that he knows he has to listen to and do what she says.
Yes.
But he's trying to be patient, let her know, yes, this is how things are done. There are reasons we do things this way. I know it's hard, but if you trust me, everything will go just like it did with your father, which is supposed to be comforting. Except I suspect her father did not die too kindly a way.
Probably not.
The way especially since she took over at such a young age. But the thing is, as much as he's patient, as much as you can tell at the end, he's just not happy with what her decision was to give him a full burial, a proper burial. You can almost, you can tell he's aggravated.
Yeah.
In his vocals, but he's still gonna, at the end, he's not gonna, go back on his word. He's actually gonna go and give this guy a proper burial because that's what his queen demanded of him. He may not even be happy that she's about to make sweeping changes to the monarchy, the way she was talking, but you can kind of tell it's like he does care for her and will support her the best way he knows how. At the beginning, this was trying to keep her within the line of what the pharaohs always do. At the end, I suspect this is more like, okay, you kind of know what you're doing. I'm going to try to protect you from the worst of the fallout if this does not go, if this goes the way I think it will. But yeah, that's what I like. I like his acting, even though he never really changes his cadence or his voice acting. There's just enough minor subtle changes in that it's like you can tell what's going on through his mind. So that's what's really great about this is you've got great animation that doesn't require voice acting, and you've got great voice acting that doesn't require animation to tell their stories.
Yes.
And yet we got them in the same video. So yeah, that's my second like.
Gotcha.
What's your first dislike?
I don't have any. I don't have any dislikes for this.
My only dislike is I wish it was longer. We got to see more of how things were going on. Granted, this tells the complete story. It's just like with My Cat Lucy, this just feels like it told like the beginning of a story and that there's more to it and we just didn't get any more of it.
Agreed.
Which is disappointing, but I also get why. So yeah, that's probably my only dislike.
Okay.
Which means we need to rate these things. What are you rating both of these shorts?
Okay. Not Dragon, but Legend.
A Dragon Ball tale.
A Dragon Ball tale is legendary.
Legendary is not a rating.
I know it's not. I wish it was, but it's not. I think if we were to do legendary, it would be like a 10. I think this is a 10. I know we have.
Really?
To me, it's a 10.
Really? Because in my mind, it's over 9,000. Yeah, it's 10 for me also.
Oh, okay. We're in agreement. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely the
I'm sorry. It's like you're not gonna make the joke. You are not gonna make this joke. I will make this joke.
Make the joke. You made the joke and executed it very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is legendary. It is over 9,000. This is just, it's a 10. Go watch it. It's so well done.
And
Pharaoh's a 9. Pharaoh is so much of a 9. Amazing visual storytelling, amazing audio storytelling. That's the word I'm looking for. Storytelling through visualization and audio is done very well. I, I, like you said, it's a little too short. It's a little too short. I agree with you there, and wish it was a little longer, kind of like my cat Lucy. But again, incredible. I feel like it's done very well for being a student film. It is very well done, and people need to go watch this.
All right. I am also giving it a 9.
Okay.
It's a very good little short film. I like I said earlier, I feel like it is the beginning of like a 10-minute cartoon, and there needs to be, in my mind, there should be something extra happening after this, but this is all we get. But that's fine. But yeah, it was a nice little story, and just like I said, I wish it was longer. So yeah, that's why I'm only giving it a 9.
Agreed.
The next 2 weeks, we're going a little historical on you. I say a little because we're talking 20 years ago, which that's historical at this point, right?
Yes.
To the early days of the internet, pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
When this came out. It originally came out on first it came out on this guy's original site, because this is an old Flash video, so it means it took up absolutely no room, and you could watch this on dial-up with no hiccups.
Wow.
Give you an idea as to how old this is because of the way Flash animation worked. But I originally saw this first on the website Newgrounds. It's a little 4-part animation called Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom. It too is a fan film created by Randy Solom, who has unfortunately passed. But this is the HD version of it. We will be watching parts 1 and 2 next week, with 3 and 4 after that. And I will admit, when Jacob brought this idea of Indie Shorts Month to me, I didn't know we were primarily going to be looking at student films from his selections. I was just like, what would be a cool animated short thing we could watch? What would be 4 good animated short films we could watch that I remember enjoying? It would be fun for this sort of thing. And I thought of things like, ASDF movie, which there's too many of those to do in a quick bout, little different things. And then I happened to be going through YouTube, and I saw something that reminded me of Rise of the Mushroom Kingdom by Video Game Director's Cuts. And I thought, I wonder if there is actually a good quality, high quality version of there on YouTube. Because, Flash is dead. We can't watch the original as much as we'd like to. Sure, Homestar Runner found a way around it with the Ruffle plugin, which is just emulating Flash in HTML5. But I wanted to see if there was a good high quality thing, and not only was there a good one, it was actually put out by the Video Games Director's Cuts YouTube channel. So yeah, that's what we're going to be watching the next 2 weeks. Parts 1 and 2 are one story. Parts 3 and 4 are another story, but they're all part of a whole sequence. So join us next week for that. In the meantime, though, we've got some X-Men, the animated series, to review.
Previously on X-Men.
Meet the sulky, over-funky, kinda hulky superhero. A two-fisted and electrically transistored superhero. An exotically erotic and aquatic superhero. The Marvel superheroes have arrived.
X-Men, X-Men, it's the day, X-Men, X-Men, coming your way.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends, Iceman and Firestar.
I still love that. That's awesome.
Yes, but you gave me a weird look when it was doing the Marvel superhero show, and it described that one as being erotic.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Technically, that was Namor they were talking about.
Oh,
And he is just like wearing a Speedo. That's all he's wearing.
Oh, okay. I didn't have context. I was like, what in the world was that?
I listened to that 3 or 4 times, and I was never quite sure if they were actually saying erotic till just now. Because the audio is just that old.
Yes.
But anyway, today the first episode we're reviewing today is Enter Magneto.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Directed by Larry Houston and written by Jim Carson and Terrence McDonnell. In this episode, Magneto attempts to break Beast out of prison, but Beast would rather stand trial. Sabretooth demands that Beast be set free and ends up going into a destructive rage, prompting the guards to shoot and injure him. Cyclops aids Sabretooth and brings him to the mansion's infirmary, which does not sit well with Wolverine. Later, Magneto attacks a military missile facility. Guest cast for this includes Don Franks as Graydon Creed Sr., aka Sabretooth, David Hemblin as Eric Magnus, Magneto, and Stephen Wamette as Hodge. Trivia for this episode. This episode is loosely based on the first X-Men comic book, X-Men #1, released in September 1963. In this comic, Magneto attacked the Cape Citadel missile base only to fight the original X-Men members, Jean Grey, Beast, Cyclops, Iceman, and Angel. Beast reads a book by George Orwell, who came up with an Orwellian society describing a situation, idea, or societal condition identified as being destructive to the welfare of a free and open society, similar to what we'll see in Days of Future Past's alternative future. Also, the copy of Animal Farm that he is reading. Animal Farm is like a short story, so it wouldn't take a book. It wouldn't take a book that size.
Maybe it's just multiple copies in different languages.
Or maybe it's the comic book version, so he was looking at the pictures.
It's Beast we're talking about.
I know, I'm being facetious. The guard is wearing briefs, more commonly known as tidy whities.
Hey, Chief, wait for me!
Beast's line, Magneto, I presume, is a reference to Sir Henry Morton Stanley's famous meeting with Dr. David Livingstone. In the flashback, Xavier beats Magneto, who is wearing his helmet. Normally, the helmet blocks psychic attacks. However, it is likely Magneto's helmet during this time could not do that, and the later helmet that does block telepathy is a different version or modified from this one. The protesters' signs say, "Down with all mutants! Mutants, go back to where you came from and go home." The judge is wearing a bow tie because bow ties are cool.
He's wearing a bow tie.
The seal behind the judge says Kurt on top and Edic Litpo on the bottom. This is all a completely meaningless string of letters.
Come on, Marvel.
It is more likely than not that the Hodge seen here as Hank's lawyer is not the same Cameron Hodge, who is the Genosha ambassador seen in Slave Island later on. Beyond the physical differences, Cameron Hodge would likely not help any mutant in court, and it is highly unlikely that he would go from being a defense attorney to ambassador in such a short amount of time. It is a likely coincidence, or possibly the two are related. Though, interestingly enough, they are both voiced by Stephen Wamette. So obviously someone didn't catch that they were different characters. Beast references Dostoevsky, who wrote Crime and Punishment. Appropriate reading since considering both his legal plight and how long it'll take to read it. Missile silos doors don't fold back into 4 sections. This was probably done to make an X in the gap.
Makes sense.
Gambit, Rogue, and Jean Grey neither appear nor are mentioned in this episode. This begins the season-long story arc of Beast standing trial after being arrested in Night of the Sentinels Part 2. This is also the first full appearance of Magneto and Sabretooth, though they both had cameos in Night of the Sentinels Part 1. Also in this episode is the first time that Cerebro is named. So, what is your thoughts on this episode?
Oh my gosh. So, for obviously continuity reasons, like watching this one and the next one be like, obviously they flow together as stories.
Thankfully.
So, thankfully they do. So,
there's going to be a couple here where we're going to be going back and forth somewhat because the continuity is a little sparse, and they sometimes the list we're going off of, unless there was like a lot of big difference, they just kept it in the order it aired.
Right.
There'll be some differences when we get to season 3 and 4,
but
a lot of jumping around there.
So this was a good episode. This was where, like, the first, obviously the first meeting of Magneto, but apparently be like, they know who he is through Charles, and Charles and him have a past, obviously the comics and this. Charles' explanation of the like how they met, obviously does stray away from the comics a little bit, but obviously this is a cartoon,
also a separate universe.
Obviously, separate
so
universe.
You can get away with that.
Exactly. Kind of like Legend. I enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun. Definitely brought back a lot of memories. A lot of just like sucks you back into your childhood, childhood. This was 1993. But just so much fun. It's a bit cheesy and corny because they're against the early 90s. Things were corny and cheesy, but they were good. They were good, corny and cheesy.
Right.
And the X-Men again get their butts kicked by Magneto. But it's just it's a good setup to what is to come later on in the series, and Beast's refusal to go along with Magneto's plan and to just simply break out. It's like, no, I'm going to stand trial because that is going to show as a good example.
Right.
A good example. And so I enjoy that, because I think in probably more modern interpretations, they would probably just be like, oh yeah, let's just leave. Maybe.
Still weird that Magneto is wanting to free Beast, despite the fact he should know Beast is working for the X-Men.
Yeah, he should know that.
And he's already against Xavier at this point. But
yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading a little too much into it.
Maybe.
But yeah, this is a good, fun episode. Not a lot of action in this, except near the very end, when they're actually getting into the whole, saving the missile base. But a lot of the story in this one is due to the court case near the beginning, where they actually. One has to wonder who let Sabretooth into that courtroom looking like that.
Yeah, how did Sabretooth get in there? He just pops it in nowhere.
I'm assuming he may have been in there in the back. But at the same time, Logan and Scott are at least in street clothes. They're in civilian wear. They are at least trying to be undercover. Sabretooth is in the only costume we ever see him wearing.
Yes.
Granted, this means they didn't have to redraw anything for this, but it's like, who is going to look at you, Sabretooth, and say, yes, you could come into the courtroom. You're obviously not a mass murderer.
Yeah, you're not like you're going to maul somebody to death.
You're not a security threat. But maybe he got in because, the court was, since it was a mutant case involving mutants, maybe they didn't feel it right to keep any mutants out of the courtroom.
Possibly.
At the same time, it's freaking Sabretooth. Wasn't he just on the news 2 episodes ago?
He was
going on a rampage. Who let him in here?
Because he just pops out. He's in frame now. It's like, okay. Did he somehow like gain an invisibility cloak? Surprise! I'm gonna tear somebody up.
He was obviously stole some of Ant-Man's shrinking technology,
and
then use the grow technology at the PIM particles, and then use the ones that make him grow like right at the end of the court case. I guess. I don't know.
It's like, pop, surprise, I'm Sabretooth. Arr.
Pop goes the Sabretooth.
Or in this case, pop goes Wolverine's claws.
That too. Because that is the weird thing about this. Like I said, he was just on the news causing a rampage.
Yes.
2 questions. A, why did they let him in the courtroom? Like I said earlier. And B, does Cyclops not watch the news?
Apparently not.
Because he ought to know, hey, that mutant dressed exactly like he is now was on the news a little bit ago, causing a riot or fighting against other,
police in a little bit.
Yeah. Perhaps he's not a good guy.
Yeah. It's like, oh yeah,
but no, Scott's got to be Scott.
He's got to be this Boy Scout. It's like, Scott, really? You saw this guy earlier.
But anyway, I do like how they adapted the first X-Men comic at the end of this. It's a good way to introduce Magneto more fully to the world, even though he too was had a cameo appearance in a news broadcast at the beginning of the last episode. Because anyway, I do like the whole how they showed his powers with the yellow rings of doom. That's kind of how I always thought of him as a kid. My only real issue, it's the issue I probably will have for a lot of this, because I'm assuming the transfer quality is never going up.
Probably not.
In fact, and I know the animation is slowly going to get worse because they're always trying to cut corners in this cartoon. It's just, there's a lot of parts where it's just crunchy.
Yes.
And a lot of it's the transfer more than it is the animation. And just making television that's meant to be on a cathode ray tube in interlaced format just doesn't, even though they probably went back to, it was not recorded on film. It was probably done on videotape. So I mean, you've got what you've got, and you're just gonna have to live with it.
Agreed.
So like I said, I wish this was better, the transfer was better. The story itself is good. I'm enjoying this. But this was a good start of this little story arc, and I think it takes a lot of guts for the 3rd episode of your television show to have for kids. It's supposed to be an action show for kids, and have the first half of it be a courtroom scene.
Yeah,
that's not something you normally see a lot on children's television.
Yeah, like it also shows more,
not as long as they were in there, especially with all the political drama, not political, but the race drama that's just naturally prevalent in X-Men.
Yeah. Agreed.
You ready for the next one?
The part that kind of got me, like, there again, watching these as a kid, you never notice, but as an adult now, as a reviewer, be like, you notice where Magneto, he's starting to crush everything. So he's doing this the entire time. Be like, they reverse it and reuse that same shot. This
isn't, I don't think it's this one where the animation reuse is bad. I think it's the next one where there's a lot of bad use.
Yes,
there's a lot of heavy use of reanimation.
Yeah, and also in the next episode, I'm like, apparently they forgot that Wolverine has a healing factor,
and apparently they forgot he can retract those claws too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because they're still out. Anyways, let's get into the next episode.
Let's get into this next one. Deadly Reunions, directed by Larry Houston and written by Don Glut. In this episode, Professor Xavier and Magneto confront each other for the first time in years. Meanwhile, Wolverine and Sabretooth come face to face. Professor Xavier tries to examine Sabretooth's mind to figure out his rage problem. After his last terrorist action failed, Magneto plots a new one to bring Professor Xavier out into the open. Sabretooth and Wolverine confront each other in the mansion's war room, which is apparently on the 1st floor. Guest cast for this includes, once again, David Hemblin as Eric Magnus, and or aka Magneto, Don Franks as Graydon Creed Sr., aka Sabretooth, and now Len Carlson as Robert Kelly. One of the boys, tormenting Sabretooth in his mind, has a logo similar to a Spartan helmet. It could be a sports logo, and there are numerous real-world logos with a similar design. Xavier has a ladder against his bookshelves in the globe. I think I copied a little too much of this trivia now that I'm looking over this, but we'll keep going. The shot of the Blackbird leaving the hangar is visually similar to the Batmobile leaving the Batcave in the opening title of Batman the Animated Series. Given the date Batman started and the time it takes to produce a single episode, it is more likely a coincidence and not a reference. The shot of Magneto hovering over Storm, Cyclops, and Rogue is framed exactly like a shot in Enter Magneto. Rogue makes several comments likening her CPR to a romantic kiss and later flirts with Cyclops like they had a thing. In X-Men Evolution, Rogue has an actual crush on Cyclops. The comics would eventually explain that Cyclops could not control his powers because of trauma. Here, Rogue is unable to control the powers, even though she has not had any such trauma. Bull hockey!
Yeah.
However, that explanation came after the series, so Cyclops' uncontrolled powers may have a different reason.
It's a very powerful optic blast coming out of your eyes.
There's that too. In this episode, Magneto still does not have a psychic-proof helmet.
Come on, bro. Get with the program.
Rogue's gloves are not destroyed when she looks at them with Cyclops' powers. Likely they are made of material similar to those worn by the Fantastic Four, so they change with their body to accommodate new powers. This will happen with her later with Mystique being able to change.
Oh, yeah.
When she does her form change thing there. Apparently, Xavier can either control his chair psychically or was able to move a button with his mind to make it come to him. Despite a big battle, the X-Men don't directly help anyone in this episode.
No.
As the people in immediate danger save themselves. Magneto is partially correct. In his flashback, he was apparently taken by Nazi men to probably a German internment camp during the Holocaust, which he promises to never let happen again. Kelly, in his address, states he wants to send mutants to internment camps.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Interestingly, there is a bed just off to the side of the war room where Sabretooth is looking for Wolverine. The shot of Sabretooth and Wolverine first facing off with each other mirrors something that I apparently did not copy down. But here's a fun fact. Pull tab cans have essentially completely disappeared from drinking cans by the 1980s, having been replaced by the more ecologically friendly push tab, like that one right there. For it to be a pull tab, Wolverine must be drinking some really old soda or beer.
But as a kid's cartoon, he can drink beer. It's got to be root beer.
It's soda.
It's soda.
Xavier moves his paralyzed leg in order to get back into his chair.
He does!
Also, this is the first appearance of Deadpool, Maverick, a Talos robot, renamed from the Shiva robot of the comics, Janice Hollenbeck, and Omega Red.
Yeah.
This is the only appearance of Janice Hollenbeck. Janice Hollenbeck, the blonde woman seen in Sabretooth's mind, only appeared twice in the comics, X-Men number 5 and number 6, which were released in February and March of 1992. In the 1960s, Team X had been sent to Berlin, Germany to extract her as she was a double agent who had some connection to their enemy, Omega Red.
Yeah.
However, Sabretooth found out she was stealing and selling secrets to both the United States and the Soviet Union, so he killed her. Wolverine lashed out and it became the team's last mission. Wolverine also buried the carbonadium synthesizer, which kept Omega Red alive with her, but forgot it was in her coffin after being brainwashed by Weapon X.
Comics.
Since Cyclops, Storm, and Wolverine start off debriefing Xavier about the attack on the missile base, this takes place immediately following Enter Magneto. Homo superior, the scientific name for a mutant, is stated for the first time, indicating that at least some believe mutants to be a separate species. The Blackbird Seaside Hangar door is seen for the first time in this episode. The mansion is then also revealed to be close to the coast. This is the first mention of Storm's claustrophobia. The first time Rogue absorbs someone's powers and uses them. She absorbed Wolverine's in Night of the Sentinels Part 2, but only to knock him out and wasn't shown using his powers. This is the last major time Magneto is a direct threat to the X-Men.
Really?
In subsequent episodes, he would oppose others that cause problems for the X-Men or would be an ally.
Okay.
We shall see how true that is.
Yes.
The missile base from Enter Magneto is given a name, Drake Missile Base. Senator Kelly announces his intentions to run for president of the United States. This is the first use of the name Professor X in the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
The first indication that Sabretooth can heal and has an acute sense of smell like Wolverine. First use of the name Adamantium.
Mm-hmm.
The War Room is revealed to be on the ground floor of the mansion. Wolverine is, ironically, the first X-Man to be hospitalized in the infirmary. Jubilee was previously in it in Night of the Sentinels Part 1, but she was not an X-Man yet.
Mm-hmm.
Since he has a healing factor, he does not need to stay there long.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Beast, Gambit, and Jean Grey do not appear. Of the three, only Gambit is not mentioned. What are your thoughts on this episode?
The very end of this episode, be like Wolverine is injured by Sabretooth, and he be like Jubilee blast him off, and then everybody's, oh my gosh, Wolverine could die. Let's get him to the infirmary. He is a freaking healing factor.
In fact, this healing factor is so strong that in one comic story, he was apparently the first human. But that was in a horrible thing that should never be mentioned.
Right. Like the fact, like I remember, like some of them in the comic, like he gets burned or melted to a toast, and he comes back as a skeleton. And it just grows back.
Yes, because he's Wolverine.
That is true.
This man has more plot armor than Superman does.
True. And I find it,
he has more plot armor than Batman.
True.
Batman shouldn't survive half of what he's in the middle of.
Oh, yeah, but also he's the world's greatest detective. But
I don't care. He's human.
Either or. It's just like that. I mean, how long could be like? Obviously, Wolverine's been there for a while, so obviously, you know, he's got a healing factor. Like him and Sabretooth have a similar healing factor. It's just
I get them not knowing Sabretooth has a healing factor.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should know about Wolverine's healing factor by now.
Yeah.
And they should also know that if Wolverine says, hey, this guy from my past is bad news, you might want to listen to him, especially when this guy was on the news 4 episodes ago causing a riot, fighting the police. He might actually be bad news. He might be a liar.
Yeah.
He might have just enough training by, I don't know, Magneto to be able to keep I know I said Doc Brown. to keep Professor X out of the part of his mind he doesn't want Professor X in.
Right.
That might be a thing.
Maybe.
Though, is there anything stupider looking than the combination version of Sabretooth and Professor X?
The mutton chops.
That was like, why did you animate that? Why did you draw that?
Oh my gosh.
I get what you're doing, but I'm looking at it going, there had to have been a better way than just drawing a new character model.
Right.
There had to be a better way. You had the transparency thing going. You could have just layered them both on top of each other. It would have been fine, but no. I get that technically creating a new model and just animating that for the 5 seconds. That particular thing has to be on screen is probably cheaper than animating 2 different models for those 5 seconds to be in step with each other.
Oh my gosh.
But still, that looks stupid.
It does look stupid. It does look stupid. And like, there's so much of this plot. It's just like, what in the world is going on?
I get somewhat of what's going on.
I do understand that. Yes. The one that I don't be like, let me get where I'm going. The point that Wolverine makes is very, very, very on the nose. is like when they were leaving to go fight.
Go to the chemical plant.
Yeah, go to the chemical plant. It's like be like. So we're not allowed to snuff up my enemies, but we're allowed to go bash yours.
Exactly.
It's like, what priorities here, people? It's like, oh yeah, because Magneto, he's going to destroy the world. Well, oh yeah, this big hulky guy that's, enemy Wolverine. Oh no, let's try to treat him the whole bit.
Granted,
priorities.
Okay, here's a question I have. Yes, they had Sabretooth locked up in I'm guessing, Professor X's crazy chair. when he goes psychotic with his psychic powers, because I mean that's got to happen from time to time, right? So they got him locked in there. So yeah, they're not going. Sabretooth surely will not be able to escape this. You still have the high schooler watching him. How smart is that? Or the one that's stupid enough to say, "Oh, here, I will undo the thing and then go get the healing supplies to fix your cut or bandage or whatever.
Bandage your wound." Now, granted, Sabretooth does play it very well.
Granted, but Jubilee, I have a small thing you might want to think about. Granted, this ultimately probably would not have helped you, but here's just a wild idea. Go to the infirmary first. Get your first aid supplies, then come back and undo his hand. Maybe then... No, you're still going to get hurt. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But at least that would actually make more sense than, here, I'm going to undo your restraints and then you'll get everything.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh no, yeah, he's not a villain. Wolverine's been telling you that the entire time.
Yeah, Wolverine has been telling you this the whole time. Now, granted, Wolverine probably has... admittedly, I don't remember the stories as much as I would like to. So I don't remember how much of Weapon X he can actually talk about in this continuity. So maybe he can't bring that up. Interesting that Sabretooth actually, in his memories, we actually get to see many members of the Weapon X program, including some who will never get to talk in this franchise. That's ironically, considering he's a merc with a mouth. But although this was before he got famous for that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how. It's still Wolverine. They know that Wolverine had a history.
Yeah.
And it was dealing with a lot of rough people. And Wolverine's the only one who recognizes this guy. And Wolverine is saying this guy is bad news. You're not going to say, I don't know. Okay, Wolverine, what's wrong with this guy? Where do you know him from? And all Wolverine says, I don't quite know. I just know he's a bad guy. It's connected to something in that past I can't tell you about. And they go, oh, he's one of those people. Okay, we're just going to we'll take him out behind the shed and shoot him or something. I don't know. They probably wouldn't do that.
But also Xavier does bring up the thing, be like, yeah, we went to the exact same thing. So you wouldn't know all this crap, Xavier.
Even if Sabretooth didn't show up in his mind, there's a section that obviously was horrible for Wolverine because, I don't know, all the metal he can shoot out of his fists. And you probably know that his entire skeleton is covered in this stuff. So perhaps if whatever organization did that to Wolverine could have been a lot harder on the guy who looks like a giant wildcat. And how
in orange spandex?
Yes, in orange spandex, who was on the news 4 episodes ago. I can't help but stress that. He was on the news 4 episodes ago for causing some kind of police riot.
Apparently.
Why are you trusting this guy?
Maybe Ribby recorded over the episode. No, Jubilee.
No, better. Morph recorded over it with the other news reports that just didn't include Sabretooth. Because he was too busy trying to look like Domino or something. We got to get Morph more into the story. I mean, he was the red shirt who will come back.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And Wolverine apparently loved Morph for some reason.
Oh my
Or they were good
gosh.
friends. It's like, but anyway,
We'll get there when we get there.
weird episode.
Yes, very
But
weird.
I do find it funny that the X-Men didn't help any in this episode.
No, they didn't.
They were in the way, and oh, good night. Storm's claustrophobia.
Oh, it comes up over and again.
I know it comes up, but this first time it's like, Storm, you're not in a small room. Granted, I know these fears can overtake you at the time you least expect them, and there's nothing there that even I can say will understand it because I don't have claustrophobia myself. But at the same time, the room you're in is wide open, and you're just happen to be staring at a brick wall that at first, when you first get spooked by it, is not moving.
Yeah, it's not moving.
And it's not even an animation issue. It's literally not moving. You just got turned around with an explosion, and then you started getting like the flashbacks to when you were a child goddess. Yeah, they haven't mentioned that part.
No, they haven't yet.
But they did show her in that costume, and I'm going, child goddess character over here. Yes, I get that she's got claustrophobia because she's not actually a goddess. She's human. But here's just a wild idea. I don't know where I was going with that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Granted, I know we haven't had a chance to really get into any of these characters' backstories.
No.
Because that's not really how you wrote these shows back then. You wrote about, well, pretty much the whole first season with like characters going on adventures. Then once we know we are securing an actual show that may last long enough to get into, syndication, then we'll worry about talking about people's backstories.
Yes.
They are at least aware of backstories because we got the whole thing with Logan and Sabretooth, them having a history and them already showing characters in his mind that we'll never actually get to see in the show. But or a couple of them we won't get to see in the show. I did note that there was some of those people that were in Sabretooth's mind. They do technically show up later.
They do.
But none. I know Deadpool does not have a speaking role ever.
No.
Because I'm still thinking, man, that's a missed opportunity before Deadpool was actually an interesting character.
Right.
But anyway, this is a fun show.
It is a fun show.
I'm glad we're doing
episode.
This. We're still in season 1.
That is so true.
We're getting to the interesting parts. We are far away from the Phoenix saga, okay?
Yeah, that's true. Our Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past is coming up fairly quickly.
Yes.
And that is one of the episodes that I have watched because I did rewatch like most of season 1.
Yeah.
Like beginning of last year. So, and I think I even talked about it on the show. So I know I got past Days of Future Past, and I remember thinking that one was a breath of fresh air because it's like plot. It's not crammed in with a bunch of other crap. Granted, there's plot here, and it's not really crammed in with a bunch of other crap. But at that point, it just seemed like, oh, this doesn't feel like they're just throwing stuff at me and saying, you know what's going on, right? Some of this show right now is they're throwing stuff at you and saying, you know what's going on, right? You know who Jubilee is, right? Right. You know why Wolverine and you obviously don't know why Wolverine and Sabretooth hate each other, but you know who these random people we're going to show on screen in Sabretooth's mind are, right? And you're like, no, I don't know who any of these people are. 10-year-old boy me in 1992, or however old I was.
Oh my gosh.
But
so yeah, so I know it's almost a running theme throughout like the next few episodes, but Storm's claustrophobia comes up again and again and again. It's just like, wow, how many times are you going to reuse this thing?
Well, when the writers only know a couple things about the characters because they probably hadn't had time to read 40 years of X-Men comic history yet. We're just lucky that they know about the Weapon X program, even though they don't call it Weapon X yet.
Yep.
But anyway, you have any other thoughts on this before we finish up here?
I think I'm good.
Okay, well, the next week we are going to be reviewing
Captive Hearts.
Yeah, Captive Hearts and Cold Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
So join us later for that.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame.
You can follow Jacob on his Facebook at Jacob B. Heron. His Facebook page, Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where he tries to draw each and every day. His Instagram at Jacob B. Heron. His Twitter at Jacob Heron. And his letterboxd at Jacob Heron. You can find Drew on Facebook at Drew Dodgen. His Facebook page, Drew's Photobin, to see his photography. His letterboxd page at ggeorge759. His Twitter at ggeorge759. And Instagram at Drew Dodgen. You can like us on Facebook at the Cellcast Podcast. On Twitch at the Cellcast Gaming. On YouTube at Cellcast. On Twitter at cast_cell. The Cellcast can be found at Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, or anywhere else fine podcasts are downloaded from. Please rate and review us where you found us, and also on Podchaser. Email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com. The Cellcast is a proud member of both the Pop Americana and Culture Box media networks. For more information, please see the link in the description. Our theme song is Drop and Roll by Silent Partner. And remember, that's Cell with a single L.
Kakarot! Well, his life is over.